This is the second episode of this story. As you can see, have drank the coffee a little bit from last time. This is episode 2. And but I wanted to thank the anonymous person, I don't know who it was, who bought me a coffee yesterday. It's here. You can see it. Thank you very much. And I've drank about half of it now. So I did get a coffee. And to be clear, what happens is when you click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, it says that you can buy a cup of coffee for $5. So that's what I got. I got $5. And actually this is probably 2 cups of coffee, because where I am here at this restaurant, at this coffee shop here in Paris, this cost I think $2. So it's actually 2 cups of coffee. But thank you very much, whoever that was that contributed to the Buy Me a Coffee link. So what's happening is I'm going to talk about how I got to Paris, what happened here. I'm visiting, basically. And what I'm doing here is I like to dance tango, which I think you can see on my channel. I talk about tango a lot. And one of the reasons I'm here in Paris, I've danced tango all over the world, actually, because I travel around the world working on the internet. So I've lived in many different cities, including Buenos Aires, which is where I learned to dance tango. And I danced in Berlin for 2 years or more, and now I'm in Paris. And I like Paris because it's a little bit different than Berlin. Berlin is kind of Nuevo Tango, and Paris maybe more traditional tango. So that's what I've done recently, is dance tango. When I went to Buenos Aires, I'll have to tell you the story now, is what this is. I got there, and I presented my credit card when I got to Buenos Aires, and they said, "Oh, muy famoso." And I said, "No, I'm not famous. What are you talking about? I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm just a cowboy." I'm not a cowboy, but basically I'm from Texas. And they said, "Oh no, you are very famous." And I said, "No, I'm not." And they said, "Go look on the internet, Guillermo Rawson," which Guillermo is William in Spanish. So I went and looked on the internet, and I found Guillermo Rawson. He was born in 1821, and he became the Minister of the Interior in the first elected government of Buenos Aires, and he owned the biggest hospital in Buenos Aires. He also was from Wales. He was, but he came from the United States because his family moved from Wales to Boston, Massachusetts, and then he, after the American Revolution, he decided to come down. His family decided to come down to Argentina and start over, because they didn't have as much property under the Americans as they did under the British. So he's very famous, and that's who they were talking about, was this guy. And of course, I got interested, and I started looking into it, and I basically found out that he's my great-great-grandfather, Guillermo Rawson. And what happened was, what I've been able to put together is that my father told me that his father ran away from home, okay? And that's all I found. And then my father passed away, so I didn't really learn much more about that. And the reason he ran away from home, this is interesting, is that he did not want to be a doctor. His family made him become a doctor. He even went to medical university, but he didn't want to do that. So he ran away from home. That's what my father said. My father didn't tell me where my grandfather was from, but now, of course, what I found out is he came from Argentina. And in fact, Guillermo Rawson, who was born in 1821 in Argentina, was an Argentine citizen, because his family moved before he was born to Argentina. He's my great grandfather, I guess. I don't know how far it goes back. And so it's kind of interesting. And here I am in Argentina with this famous ancestor, basically. And guess what? Who had the first national dance of Milonga inside the hospital, the Hospital Rausen, which is the one he owned, because he was a public health doctor. That was his expertise. And he saw the people dancing in Dorrego Plaza in San Telmo, dancing tango out in the street in the rain. And he said, no, come on in. So every Sunday night, he said, you can come to the hospital and you can dance for free. And so they started to do that. This was in 1860 when the first dances of tango were really beginning in Buenos Aires. And so they would come and they'd bring food and wine and their friends. And this is interesting. There were no tango teachers. Zero. How'd you learn to dance tango? Well, you went to, it was called the Praktika Rausen. And you would learn from friends and family. That's how you learn tango. And there's a girl in New York even. Her name is Rebecca Schulman. And she's a great tango dancer. And she discovered this. And she started the Praktika Rausen in New York, in Manhattan. And I think it's still going on. And the idea is tango teachers can come, they're welcome, and she is a tango teacher, but they're just like everyone else. They're just friends and family. So you can learn from your friends and family, or you can learn from a teacher. It's your choice. And what Rebecca found out was there was a woman, her name, I'm trying to remember her name now, it's an Argentine woman, told Rebecca about the Praktika Rausen, and the reason, Rebecca asked this woman, she's a very famous tango dancer in Argentina, Rebecca asked her, how did you learn to dance tango? And she says, I learned at the Rausen Hospital with my friends and family. And so that's how Rebecca found out about Rausen Tango. So she recreated it in New York, and I think it's still going on. So anyway, what a big adventure. So I lived in Buenos Aires for 5 years. I was working on an internet project there. And I got that project because I had a dream. My dream was to go to Buenos Aires and learn to dance tango. And I figured out a way to realize that dream was to get a job working on the internet in Buenos Aires, which is what I did. And I did that for 5 years and danced tango. And so I had a great time. And so this is my point in this story, is that follow your dreams. If you wait to get the money or get whatever you need to do your dream, it ain't gonna happen. What you do is you do the dream first, then you find the resources after that. And so that's the secret. And that's what I did. And so I had a wonderful time dancing tango in Argentina, and I even had a girlfriend down there, and she said her Argentine friends were saying, why are you dancing with an American? You should be dancing with an Argentine. And her reply, of course, was, well, actually, his family is Argentine. His great-great-grandfather was Guillermo Collinsberry Rawson. That was the middle name. It was Collinsberry. And the reason is, in Welsh society, I think I have this right, the firstborn male is always William. So that's why everyone calls me Derek, because we have to use our middle names, because if everybody in the family firstborn is William, how do you distinguish? You have to use middle names. So he was actually called Collinsberry by his friends, and I'm called Derek. So that's my story today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I have, well, we all have many stories. If you've been around for a while, you have a lot of stories, and I've been around for a while. So I'm sitting here in Paris, and this is my most recent story. And thank you very much, whoever bought this cup of coffee for me. When you use your credit card to buy a cup of coffee for me, using buymeacoffee.com/Derek, Derik, Rawson, Rawson. but don't use the N at the end. Put an R. That's the secret to it. I changed it on purpose. So it's buymeacoffee.com/DERIKRAWSOR. If you click on that link, you can find the link. And when you use your credit card to buy me a cup of coffee for $5, then I get it, and it's that's how it works. And it's anonymous. That's what I wanted. That was my point. I don't know who did it, but somebody bought me a cup of coffee, and thank you very much, whoever that was. And if you want to send me an email or whatever, or note and tell me who you are, that's great. I'll be glad to thank you publicly. But if you want to remain anonymous, then that's your choice. So that's my story, and I'll have more as time goes on. And my message again is follow your dreams. That's how you get to do what you want to do, and collect the resources you need after you decide what the dream is. If your dream is to be healthy and you need to walk in the park every day, what does that cost you? Nothing, right? So some resources cost money, some don't. But your dream is the deal. That's what's important. Follow your dream. So I followed my dream. I danced tango in Buenos Aires, and I'm now dancing tango all over the world. And I'm in Paris right now having a cup of coffee. Thank you very much to whoever bought me this coffee. I do appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to stop this right now, and then I'll have another story maybe tomorrow or whenever. I'm going to try to do this regularly. I may do it daily. I may do it 2 or 3 times a week. I'm not sure. But I'll always have more. Well, we all have a lot of stories, don't we? And I certainly am full of stories. Okay, so thank you very much. Bye-bye.